So I am going to do another video where I do parts and then morph it into one. This time I think they're going to be about different things, because what's happening with sharing that video is I'm getting a lot of feedback, and then it's prompting these other things that I'm like, well, I should share that. Well, I should share that. And I don't want to bombard with videos. But one of the things that is standing out to me from some of the things that I'm getting back that I want to talk about is the impact of having a mental illness has on people in our lives. So those closest to us, and then those closest to us, and how that really impacts them. Because sometimes when you have a mental illness, an untreated one, I would say, because like I said, there's hope, and once you get healthy, it's not as bad. It's still there, and it's really important for people that are close to you to understand, as much as it is for you to understand what you're battling, to have a healthy and functioning relationship, because there are certain things that are inevitable to happen in your relationship if you're fighting some kind of mental illness, depression, anxiety, bipolar, whether you're healthy or not. And if your partner doesn't know how to respond to those things, it's probably doomed. Or it's going to be real rocky and unhealthy for both of you, toxic, some would say. With that being said, I think that's an important topic, and I want to talk about it, and I think I will in future videos, because I think that anybody who is loved by someone struggling with, especially, let's stick to bipolar and borderline with what I know, but anybody who's being loved by somebody with that has probably experienced the push and pull. I love you, I hate you, I love you, I hate you, come back, no leave, come back, no leave, things like that, which is no fun for anyone involved. And then anybody who loves somebody who is struggling with these disorders, especially the untreated ones, can instantly relate and instantly feel connected to my story through that, because maybe there's answers and maybe there's a way to do it. Because sometimes I have to guess that those of you that are being loved by or loving somebody who struggles with these behavior illnesses or mood disorders, sometimes you probably want to throw in the towel, because you think to yourself, I can't do this for my whole life. And sometimes the towel probably has to be thrown in, because it wasn't right to, I mean, if I have a lot of relationships that didn't work out, and I'm sad about that, because some of them were great, some of them were bad, but I have a handful of really good relationships as far as the man that I was with, and the love that they were able to give to me. But I was so broken that I wasn't open to it. But each one of those led me to the one I'm in now, and they all served a purpose, and they all taught me, as somebody dealing with these illnesses, how to love better. But I will tell you, the number one, the key detail or factor is learning to love myself. And we hear that. I think a lot of people have heard that, oh, you can't love until you love yourself. I am here to tell you that it's true. Because until you stop self-loathing, or until you stop thinking you're not worthy, you're always going to sabotage these relationships. And that one I will put more in the borderline category than the bipolar. The bipolar exacerbated the fear of rejection and all of that comes with borderline personality disorder. The bipolar gave me the weapons of mass destruction, if you will, the manic phases to help me get out of myself and make these horrible decisions to hurt people that I would never want to hurt. But the borderline personality part of it, this fear of rejection and this hunger to be loved, it's a sick combination and an impossible one, again, if you don't have the right tools. So I'm going to address this topic, and I this is coming from certain people that are reaching out to me. I'm like, yeah, gosh, how hard for you it must have been, because to love somebody who can't love themselves has to be the most defeating and frustrating thing in the world. It has to be. I don't know, because I've always been the person that they're trying to love. And but just being able to step outside of it now and look back with a healthy mind, I'm like, gosh, those poor people. Specifically, I'm going to readdress this in a future video, probably down the road, just because I need to get some structure and really make this matter so that people can really help themselves if they choose to. But I want to interview. I want to discuss, and I'm going to start, I think, with my best friend, because she was there back then, and while she didn't agree with my decision, she never made me feel worthless for them. She never, ever let me drown, even when she probably wanted to once or twice, because I was pushing her away, because that's a key component of this sickness is, by the way, I just woke up, so that's what this is. But I am impulsive. So I got a message, and I read the message, and it was touching, and it was really special for me to get. And it just got me to thinking about how far my reach of hurt really was. And it just made me think that that's a good topic to talk about, is the impact of those that we love and those that love us, both healthy and unhealthy. Because like I said, now I have great relationships, but it's because I know how to have these relationships. I know what I need to do to fight for them, and I know how to untrigger myself, I guess you would say. So there I go again with a bit of a ramble, but I just wanted to mention that I think that's important, and it is to come. But I wanted to talk about a couple of other things that will be in this video, but in a follow-up. So I'm going to merge them together like I did with that last one. Because I think there's a lot that's being uncovered as I get feedback, and I want to stay on this, and I want to really share for multiple reasons, whether it's for healing for myself or for other people, or it's just somebody else is like, oh my gosh, that's me. And maybe the tools that I have and have learned can help. So that's my plan, and I just wanted to pop on here and make this video before I lost it, because this brain is not the same since I had that little peanut over there. It's just things come in, things go out. They don't stay in very long. So to that person, if you're watching this video, that sent me that message this morning specifically, thank you for that. It meant a lot, and it really it just got me to thinking about what else I can share to help other people that might be in my situation, whether my past or my present. So that's it for now. More to come. Okay, so this is going to be the second part to the last video I did. This time I have a kid on me, so I might have to stop and start again. But I also want to apologize for the glare in my glasses. I need to get a better setup. Right now I'm just sitting on my couch with my phone. but I don't want to miss these opportunities to talk about things that I think are important. So what I really want this video to be about, or this vlog to be about, is helping people that might be where I used to be, or somewhere in there, or even now, fighting the good fight, you know. I want to try to share some of the things that I have used over the years to get where I'm at and continue to go. So last video, I talked about DBT, dialectical behavior therapy. And I really, really, really recommend that. I don't know the science or anything behind it. I just know that if you are someone who wants to learn, it's about learning, really, tools. It's the way to live a healthy life with a mental disorder of any kind is to have the right tools. And if you don't have those tools, then it's pretty hard to do. You know, I mentioned in my very first video that it was easier to be a victim than a warrior. And it's hard to be a warrior if you don't have any weapons, right? So I did play a victim for a long time, like I said, because I didn't have any weapons to fight with. What am I going to do? I didn't know that I was supposed to be fighting. I didn't know I needed weapons. I didn't know I needed tools. I didn't know. So how could I have done better? So that's what I'm here to do, is share my tools and my weapons, because the more that we have, the more equipped we are to face different situations that we're going to be faced with. Because not every tool is going to work every time. And so the more that you have, the better, because then you can be like, oh, shoot, that didn't work. Okay, mindfulness, not today. Too late. There's different ways to do it. But I think there are some that are foundational tools, and DBT is one of them. And then another one that really had an impact on me was actually a paper that I wrote in school. We had to pick different theories. I don't even remember what the theories were, to be honest, but existentialism stood out to me. I could not, it's been so many years now, I couldn't tell you the ins and outs of it. All I can tell you is what I held on to from it and what was the corner turn for me. And that was the principle of choice, right? So to put it simply and broadly, the principle is that there are these certain elements of life that are the same for everybody, regardless of your sex, your race, your social economic status, any of that, your background, any of those things. There's these certain principles that are the same because we're people. Mortality, for one, right? We all will have that to face and to understand, and we'll do that in our own way, in our own time, whether it be through faith or how you deal with the mortality. The other one, and the one that I held on to, and the one that I chose to put in my toolbox of healthy living, is the power and the principle that we all have choice. And your first instinct and reaction when you're sick is you think I chose that. You think I choose this life. You think I chose to hurt people. I don't want to do this. And that's not what it means. And that's not what I took it to mean. She might get antsy. So we'll see. What it means, this choice. Okay, I have to stop and deal with her, and then I'll pick up with choice in just a second. Okay, I'm back. She might fuss, but I'm hoping she'll go to sleep. So to get back to what I was talking about with existentialism and the idea of choice, that we all have a choice, you know, what I was saying is our first instinct is to go on the defense. Like, you think I chose this? You think I choose to do this? And that's not what it means or how I took it. What it means is we don't always get to choose our circumstances. We don't always get to choose what happens to us or what people do to us. But the choice that we have is in how we react to that and how we handle that. And that was so powerful to me. It wasn't powerful on its own. There was a book that I read as part of my research and also as just a recommendation from my Aunt Monty because, again, she has always guided me through these things. But the book, if you're a reader, it's worth a read. It's older. It's called A Man's Search for Meaning, and it's by Viktor Frankl. He was a survivor of the Holocaust. And again, I couldn't give you a synopsis of the book overall, but the thing that he wrote about that is seared in my brain is he said he was in this concentration camp, and he said that they took everything from him. They took his family, they shaved his body, they took down to the hair on his body. They took everything from him. And he said in this book that he wrote, it didn't matter that they could take everything they wanted, but the one thing that they could never take from him is how he chose to feel about it and how he chose to react to it. That's not a quote because I'm sure it's worded different, but that was years ago that I read it, and I held on to it because it was so powerful. Because at the end of the day, that's the control that you have when you feel like you have no control. So, because another element is just this feeling like you can't help it, like you can't stop it, and you're frustrated. For me, I was in denial for a long time. I was so angry that I had to live with this mental illness, that it wasn't fair, that I wanted to be happy and I couldn't be happy, and I wanted this and I couldn't, and it wasn't fair, and anybody that knew me back then, I would say if I made these decisions, I'd be like, it's not my fault, like you don't understand what has happened to me or what I've been through. And people that didn't know me, they'd be like, that's not an excuse, and they were right. It wasn't an excuse, but I'll stand by, you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't have tools to fight, and if you don't have things to be better, what are you going to do except try to survive? And I spent most of my 20s trying to survive. That was it. Is survive myself more than anything. And there are a lot of people in this world, probably a lot of people on my friends list that you would never guess, that are in that boat, that are just trying to survive. So be kind, for starters. Even when you're hurt, try to find kindness, because you never know what is behind the hurt and how short of a rope that person is holding on to. So again, backing it up, just be kind. But also, for those of you that are watching this because you are in my boat, whether then or now or in a similar boat, it's a powerful read, and I would suggest it, because when I want to have these moments that I want to give in, right? I want to just throw in the towel and have a negative behavior, or well, now I have a child that gives me more strength and power than I could have ever imagined. I tell you what, like, talk about again, you have to be ready for it. But for me personally, having her has changed my whole perspective on everything. But I think, again, I was ready for her. I'm 34, and I had my first kid because I was afraid. I was afraid to have a kid because I never, ever wanted her to feel unloved or have to see her mom hurt. And so I'm about to cry. I can't even say that. So having a kid for me was is actually another tool of learning healthy life, because she's worth it. And some of us didn't have parents that thought we were worth it. So there's that. But nevertheless, the power of choice is something that will save you in a lot of things, because when you're feeling helpless and when you're feeling like there's no hope, you have to remember that there's always a choice and an option, and you can choose how you feel, you can choose how you react, and you can choose to fight. And so that was really what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to give another tool to go along with the DBT, dialectical behavior therapy, and then this book that I read. And just Googling different aspects of it, right? And these things, this existentialism, I wouldn't say I'm an existentialist by any means. I don't even know more than the little tidbit that I got, because the way that I look at it is you take from these things what resonate with you, and you use those, right? And so I'm only telling you this much of it because that was enough for me. That's what I needed from it. And some of it I'm reading and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a little far-fetched for me. But that doesn't matter. That doesn't mean the whole book is useless. That just means that part of it isn't something that works for me, but this part over here does work for me. So, and then I wanted to talk about, just very briefly, because it's all I can talk about, it is why I waited so long to have a kid, and why she's going to have a great life. She's going to have an amazing life because I waited. And I used to feel guilty about that. I used to feel guilty that I waited because I wanted to be a mom, but I was so afraid of it. I was so afraid to be a mom because I was like, what if I can't do it? Like, what if I hurt her? Like, not physically hurt her, but what if I emotionally hurt her? What if I don't have it in me to love her forever? And I felt that way for so many years. And now, hindsight, since she's here, oh my gosh, how silly was I being? She is, without a doubt, the most incredible thing that has ever happened to me in my life. And while being a new mom has, so far, she's 10 and a half weeks old, so by being a new mom has been one of the most challenging things I have ever done in my life. It is also already the most rewarding thing that I've done in my life. That first smile, oh my God, she's worth it, right? And then I was telling Casey the other night, I'm sleep training her because she's been sleeping on my chest and she was born, and I'm trying to put her in this little bassinet thing, and she's in this phase now where she's crying around a little and she just has to squeeze my finger to know that I'm there. And I have never had my heart melt the way that did. I just cried. I just quietly cried while she squeezed my finger. But I digress. I had to talk a little bit about my baby. This is a mom vlog. But anyway, I just wanted to hop on here and talk about another tool and reminder that these videos are going to morph into present day and more fun stuff, because my life is fun most of the time. I'm going to show you the bad stuff too, because that's real. But again, the next few videos are going to have to be foundation setting, I think, so that you can really see how I got here. Because if you are somebody watching this that knows somebody that's struggling, or you yourself are struggling, what good is it just to be like, look where I'm at, I did so great, if you don't know where I came from and how I got here. So that's kind of my goal, just to reiterate and remind everybody that we all have a story to tell, and I'm just here to share mine in the hopes that someone will help, even if it's one person. That's cool. So I think that's it for now, and I'll see you guys with another video probably sooner rather than later, because I'm making a list of all the things that I think can help. So thanks. See you later.